so you guys can watch it later. Thanks for all of you guys for showing up. I am going to mute everybody right now. So Laurie, if you look at the bottom of your screen, to the bottom left, there's a mute button. Michael, if you can mute yourself as well. And that'll just help keep the reverb from going back and forth. You won't lose us. You should still be able to see us, but you should be muted, so you should only be able to hear me. Everybody just give me a thumbs up. At least I can understand that you see that. Laurie, I took care of you. It looked like you were wrestling, so I took care of it for you. So let's go ahead and jump in. I wanted to share with you guys, I've got this recorded, so if you guys need to come back and look at this later. I wanted to share with you guys a couple different things. One, I wanted to talk about the VIA model. This is something that we've actually done at the Thursday night service. And so we'll share a little bit about that. To the right, if you can see, there is actually a place to chat. So if you hover your mouse over the screen, you can see that there's a little chat bubble on the bottom right. If you click that and you have a question during our call, I'll try to stop it and answer it and focus on you. I just said hi, so everybody should be able to see that just came from me. So let's just kind of get started. What I want to do tonight is I want to just take a little bit of your time, and I want to talk about just the VIA model, okay? Let me make sure I hear some reverb here. Let me just make sure I'm not. Hey, is that you, Andrew? Are you on there? Okay, I don't know.
I'm trying to get in on the video, Chris, yes.
Okay, no worries. If you want to just hit mute on your phone real quick, that'll just...
I'm muted.
I'm muted. Thank you so much, okay? All right, so let's kind of just jump in. What I want to do is I want to take a couple minutes to talk about the VIA model. This is the new guest care model that we're introducing to everybody, and I want to focus on 3 ideas that I think can help us pattern a way to create a welcoming environment for attendees and help connect them to the mission of the church. And where you're going to be able to find this is in the new Connect Team Leader Guide. So this is brand new. All of our campus pastors just got this book last Thursday, okay? So if you haven't heard from your campus pastor, he is either out of town, of course. I think, Michael, I saw you send an email just the other day, and I know Scott's out of town. He has this book, but everybody has a book for you, okay? So this is the new leader guide. It is principle-driven. It is 30,000-foot view, and it is more or less talking about why we do Connect Team. Okay, so there is also a game plan book that goes with this, and this is an online tool that we are implementing with all of our Connect team. So, for instance, Matt, I just talked to Scott this yesterday. He wants to do this, so you'll be getting a game plan link here from me pretty soon, and you'll be working with Scott through this process as well as with me. So, Ross, same thing for you. We just haven't talked about this yet. For all of our other campuses, we're going to be doing this. And so this is brand new. So you're like, no one has seen this in the church other than our campus pastors. And I've been trying to schedule meetings with other central directors to just help them see what we're doing. But what I want to do is I want to focus on one of the areas in this book, which is basically the guest care model. Okay, so I want to talk with you guys just really briefly about this because I think that this can be helpful for us. Hey, Andrew, I see that you just joined, so I'm just gonna keep rolling. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk really briefly about this, and this could be something that you guys could use in your huddles. Okay, so one of the things that we did in Thursday night service when we introduced this kind of idea to all of our Connect team volunteers is awesome Laurie, got these VIA. Have you guys ever drank one of these Starbucks VIAs? They're awesome. Okay, if you want instant excitement in your life, tear one of these things open and put some hot water in it and in a cup with this stuff. It is awesome, but it's just like, camping coffee, so to say. You can go to Kroger and you can go to the coffee section or Ingles or whatever you prefer, and you can go to the coffee section and get a little box. They come in 12, but it might be even something that you want to hand out to all your leaders, have a personal conversation with them and talk about this VIA model. Okay, so the idea behind VIA is the first word we would focus on is visibility. Okay, so when you're thinking about what it looks like for us to create a welcoming environment and connect people to mission, we have to be visible, right? Visibility, it communicates that something's happening. And so when people see all of our volunteers and they see people with name tags and, you know, lanyards, and they see greeters and they see parkers, I mean, it kind of communicates that something is happening. And so strong volunteer presence and strategic placement is important for us, especially as Connect team leads, campus impact leads, for those of us who hadn't changed over the name. It's important that we show that we're there. You know, we got to suit up and show up. And so it increases our likelihood of meeting guests. If a guest shows up at your campus this weekend and we have visibility, volunteers can be seen, it increases our likelihood that we're going to meet a guest. And so it also communicates that the church is the people and not the building. Right? I mean, like, the last thing that we want to do is tell people to come to our campus and it's just a building. And I know that we don't really we do a good job of visibility, but I think it's just another reminder that even in my mind, am I visible in my mind? Am I present in front of people? Oftentimes, like when I'm driving, I've got these like defensive rules of driving that I think about often. And one of them is make sure they see you. So, you know, so like if you're driving down the road and people can't see you, it's because you might be in their blind spot. And so if you're in someone's blind spot, that's really dangerous when you're driving, because if they don't see you, I mean, you could get hit, you know, they could hit the brakes, you know, and so something could happen. So this is really helpful for us, I think, when it helps people see that they can see us. It helps that they can find us and so forth. So just an idea, if you're looking for something like in the Connect team huddles, I've talked about this with some of you guys, but if you're looking for content to use in your huddles or in your emails, maybe you shoot an email to all of our volunteer leads this weekend to get ready, you know, for the weekend. And maybe you might want to say, hey guys, one thing that you can do to connect with guests this weekend is just be visible, right? So this is the first part of VIA. The second part would be intentionality. Okay, so the I would stand for intentionality. And the idea behind this is that we would just seek to know people. You know, in order for us to really get to know people, we need to ask questions to connect the dots. So like, if you can learn, you might do this really well. I have to really wrestle with this sometimes, but I have to lead by just asking questions. Like, hey, how's your name? Hey, what's your name? Hey, did you come here with someone else? I haven't met you before. Have you been coming here for a while? And so oftentimes, if you can ask questions to connect dots, that's a way to be intentional. And it's just about listening and respecting people. It's not just a protocol that we do, but it's just being intentional. This is a way that we can help think like a guest. You know, like if we think like a guest every weekend, we'll be intentional with them. So something to think about, just intentionality. The last one would be I'm going to kind of run through these real quick, but the last one would be authenticity. So this is what keeps us being grace. I think it's what keeps us being grace. I mean, grace is, that word authenticity is real. And so it's what keeps people at our church being who we say we are. And you can't really fake caring for people. You can't just like pretend that you care for somebody. So being authentic is really important. And it means that we have to actually want to know people. I think our greeters probably do this really well. Maybe Parkers don't maybe do this as well. Maybe this isn't their first inclination to be authentic. Maybe they don't know how to even do that. But it's a way to think through. Like, if we're going to care for people, if we're going to expect guests on a Sunday, if we show up and maybe mentally drink some of this, it might help us expect guests this weekend. So that was really what I was going to share this today. It is something that maybe you could share with your teams. And so do you guys have anything that you would want to add to that? You know, feel free to unmute if you have a thought. Is there anything that you'd want to share to that? No? Okay. You guys are killing me. You guys are, I don't want to be the only one that talks. Please help me. Has anybody drank one of these things like and dished it out on Sunday? I mean, like, do you feel like this is something you guys do really well? Is this very generic? Is this even helpful?
I think it's very helpful. I mean, I love acronyms. I think it's something that's easy for us to remember, easy for us to communicate. And if we keep it at the forefront of our minds, hopefully it'll, affect our behavior. And I think it's great. I think tools like this to help us communicate with our team is excellent.
Yeah. How do you guys do it, Sparty? Do you think that you guys are pretty, like, do you open up a can of Via every Sunday? Are y'all good at that? I mean,
I feel like that where we are with our team is that some of our team members are really gifted at that, but others are not. So right now, what I communicated to Scott is, trying to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus, and the people that are on the bus, getting them in the right seats, as in having them at the right spot. So, we're still kind of, I think, going through some growing pains, kind of developing our team. But I think some of our team members are very gifted at it. But I think we could do a better job with the training to be able to, even the folks that might not be the most gregarious or engaging, still pulling them up a little bit and helping them perform better.
Yeah. I think, would anybody else want to add to that? Anybody have any? Thanks for sharing, Michael. Anybody else have anything else they'd want to say? Or
yeah. Chris, I was just going to mention, I really like the idea of the authentic part of that, and just that I feel like it really ties in well with our mission of the Connect team is to connect people to the mission of our church. So I think in being authentic in that first 10 minutes that we interact with people, that's a really good snapshot of how they can see who we are, what our DNA is as a church, as it plays out through us. That's kind of what we've been just hammering on in our huddles, just trying to get everybody to kind of memorize the mission of the Connect team. And that's another tool I think that I'd love to use to help us do that in the coming weeks.
That's good. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Anything else you guys would want to add to this idea of VIA?
Yeah, Chris, we've shared that document with our team before, and I think the key is just to remind them constantly. It's been a while since they've seen the VIA model, so I think it's just a reminding and just keeping that at the forefront of their minds, on Sunday mornings when they get there. So just adding that to the huddle is probably something we need to do regularly.
Great. I think one thing that I was thinking about this as I was driving home. I was in Columbia today, and so I was driving home, and I was thinking that oftentimes what I've done as a mistake is I've focused more on the usher, hey, you're a greeter, so we need to greet, and less about the vision of why those things actually matter. And what I would really love to see I'm at Powdersville now, so I am thick in this stuff right now. I mean, I'm using my own stuff. I'm telling you right now, I am ripping the hub, and I am going through every single one of the modules, and I'm making videos for you guys so you can watch them when you get to those points. But it really is like what I'm seeing is like I've called all my leaders. Okay, so I've called all my leaders this week. I've got several teams. And one of the things that I've been asking my leaders is like, how long have you been serving in this role? Like, how long have you led the usher team? How long have you led safety team? And a lot of people have done it for a long period of time. And the next question I've been asking is, are they happy with that? Like, are they excited about what they do? And most of the people have said, hey, I'm ready to move on to something else. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, have you identified somebody that can take your role? And most everybody has said no. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. Nobody has said, yeah, I have raised up a new leader and they are fully equipped to take on safety, right? But everybody wants to do that. So I'm thinking to myself, like, if all we do is help people focus on the specific tasks, which, yes, are very important, we will only we will only onboard people to do those tasks. Okay. But if we can cast vision, if we can help people see what it means to expect guests, what it means to connect people to mission. And yes, the tasks are important. Like, yeah, you're going to carry the weight of a volunteer for safety. But what you're really doing is, if you're help creating a safe environment so that people can be connected to our mission, then I feel like it doesn't matter the task. It's an opportunity for us to onboard a new leader with vision. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I want to get to that. I want to be able to make my Connect team a leadership development factory. I want all of the leaders, like if I get a Connect team, if somebody signs up on one of those Connect cards and I get notified of it, then I'm supposed to call them and get them plugged in. I want them to know that they might be only in this role for 3 months because I'm going to ask them to lead a team. You know, like 3 months is just getting used to what we do as an entire Connect team. Yes, you're going to play an important part in this role, but I want you to lead a team. I want you to develop people. I want you to equip and disciple somebody through this process. I don't know. Those are the things that I'm really excited about right now, and I think we can do in Connect. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. My question that I brought tonight is just, Chris, what are your recommendations, and would love feedback from others about what content do you cover during your huddle? I mean, obviously it's great to pray for the morning, for things to go well, that the Lord would bring guests, that we would have unique spirit-led opportunities to connect with Him and have a meaningful connection. But, you know, and obviously you can pick a different point each week, you know, to kind of a principle to share, but kind of what do you recommend the content for that huddle to be?
Yeah, that's great. I'll share one of them really quick, and then I'd love to hear anybody else what they would say. But I will send out a couple example huddles. These are examples, Michael, that are in the game plan, which you're going to get when this thing gets turned on. We've actually created a template game plan, and Andrew could speak to this because I know he's had a copy of this and he's used it at Anderson. But I think that there's kind of 3 areas of what we're trying to help people do. We're trying to communicate and remind people of the purpose of Connect. You know, we're here to create a welcoming environment. So let me tell you a story really quick of how we've been able to do that. Kind of like a demonstrated by statement, right? So I would say if you could this week, email the worship leader of Spartanburg, email the children's ministry, whatever, and just find out how have those ministries been impacted by someone that's new. Like, just as a guess, like how many people did you have show up? An example that I have in here in one of these is that there was a couple that went from Discovery, and I remembered their name. Like Casey and Chris Hopkins, I remember them came for the first Sunday. They got into Discovery, and they've gone through Foundations, and they're took 3 or 4 months, right? And so that's a story that you could share. You know, it's like they were impacted by our ministry because they showed up. So as we think about that today, as you communicate that we're here to create a welcoming environment for the Caseys and the Chris Hopkins. You know, that's kind of is tying a story back to the purpose. So focus on the purpose, number 1. Second, I would add important huddle sheet announcements, like what's coming up. Like, when is Discovery? When is Foundations? Is there anything that our volunteers need to know? Like at Powdersville, we're doing a 24/7 retreat in 2 weeks. So I'm going to ask all of our leaders in their huddles to do that. And then the third piece would be, what's one simple way that we could connect with people today? It might be try to remember someone's name. I've got all these little techniques, but it could be the VIA model. It could be let's be VIA today. Get you some VIA packets and real quick. And you do this in 8 minutes. You know, I realize that there's limited time, but that would be my suggestion. That's what's coming in the game plan. This will be something that you'll get, Michael, and I'm going to give you like a ton of examples. And I actually thought before this call was going to start that I know that we've only did this 3 times, this webinar, and we talked about maybe, I don't know if we want to keep doing this, but I thought maybe the next time I do this is make the whole thing focused on the huddle. I don't know if that'd be helpful. But those are my thoughts. I could talk more about it. I don't want to just be about me. What about y'all? What are y'all doing? Are y'all's teams even doing huddles? Are you doing one big huddle for your entire Connect team? What do you guys want to – could you tie in and share with Michael and myself, everybody else? All right. I see Lori. I'm unmuting you, Lori. Talk to us.
Oh, okay. Are you working that for me or am I? I might have just done it. Well, Thursday night is definitely a different animal right now because we're so small. I say small, but we have a pretty big volunteer team. And we have just done our huddles with our entire team. So all graders, all ushers, all parking, and all children's team. So, and they've been great, like as far as the huddle, the people that we have had running huddles have used that model that you've sent to us. I think we were your guinea pig, right? with all of the Connect team stuff. So I know it's been really good. Like I think like the VIA model definitely, just to let other people know that we did actually give them as gifts. And when we did our community or our Connect team leadership training, we actually gave those out as gifts. So to make it, kind of solidify it for our volunteers. So, and I like your casting a vision as opposed to just giving specifics. So I do like that for our whole entire team. So anyway, good.
Thanks, Laurie. I appreciate that. I know Andrew, why don't you tell us what y'all are doing at Anderson?
Am I unmuted? There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this iPad. So we've been doing the Huddle templates, and they've been very effective, and it's short and sweet. It gets other people involved. It reinforces the message, the purpose. It does help. Interestingly enough, it seems like the thing that most people comment the most on is just how helpful it is to review the announcements and the upcoming events. And it's also neat to hear people's personal stories. So, we've been doing that now, I guess, a couple months at Anderson, just really trying to drive home the Huddle template. It's been very effective for us, I feel like.
Andrew, when you guys do a huddle, can you explain, like, is it all of your teams or your separate teams do it? Kind of walk us through what a huddle looks like. Could you give us like a 2-minute,
Sure.
scenario?
Yeah, so what we've asked all of our team leads to do is ask everybody that's serving on their team that Sunday to show up for the huddle. That excludes the Grace Kids service team, but every other service team, parking, guest services, welcome team, ushers, etc. We ask the team leads to have everyone serving that Sunday to show up, and again, it's on your honor. So sometimes there's Sundays when it's sparse, but for the most part we get pretty good attendance. And then we ask them to show up about 30 minutes before the service starts, and in the summer we only do one service. That's 9:30 for us, and we feel like that's a pretty good time frame. Gives us about 10 minutes, and then some service teams then do individual huddles, like for example the usher group we do. It's very small, real quick, but most do not. They just do the team Connect team huddle, and then they disperse and get into position ready to serve.
That's great, man. Thanks a lot, Andrew. I would say I want to keep this short. I know Matt, he's doing huddles. I know Ross, you guys are probably doing the same thing. I'd even love to. Well, let's just hear from you guys too. Ross, can you share with us what you're doing?
Right now each team is meeting in their own huddles. So ushers have their own huddle. Greeting has their own huddle. And they meet about 30 minutes before service. Kind of going over the same kind of things that Andrew was talking about. Like you said, the announcements are helpful. I think they enjoy, or at least it's beneficial for them knowing when the next discovery is, so that they can be ready to answer those questions when they get them. At least we found that to be helpful.
Ross, are you providing any sort of content to you guys? Are you giving them a document to write their huddles with? Are you guys at Harrison Bridge doing anything to equip them to be better at the huddle that we could learn from?
Yeah, right now I send out a generic huddle sheet every Thursday to the ones that are on, the leads that are on for the week. So they get that on Thursday prior to the Sunday they're leading, and then they have some hard copies on their Sunday that they can refer to, and it just kind of gives them bullet point lists of different notes to make note of, as well as contact information for that Sunday to kind of help with that. I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't hear what you were asking.
Do you give them any sort of content in that email that you send them as ideas for huddles, or do you just give them the huddle bullet points and say, you just reminder you're doing this huddle?
Right. Yeah. It's just kind of bullet points right now. No content. Yeah.
Do you think that would you guys appreciate having content? I mean, I feel like it's if I can teach someone, I think some of our Grace DNA is that we want to kind of push people to figure it out a little bit, So if we were to create a content idea for the month, let's say, VIA is what we're going to focus on for August, visibility, intentionality, authenticity. Do you feel like that would be helpful to you as a Connect Campus Impact Team lead to then maybe challenge guys to say, hey, don't just do the huddle as a team lead, but equip other volunteers to maybe feel the weight of doing a huddle too? I don't know. I'm asking questions here. What do y'all think about that?
Chris, I really like that idea. Sort of a central message. And it just helps. You've helped me do that kind of thing in Anderson, and I think that it's been very beneficial. And to your point, we ask people that aren't team leads to also lead the huddle. Just get other people involved, and then you can sort of tee it up for them. Here's what we really feel like could be beneficial for you to focus on, and tell a personal story in this aspect, but focus on these adages. So
yeah. One or two. Anybody else want to add to that or give me some ideas here? I see you, Laurie. I'm coming. I got
you. I agree. I think the idea of a central message of all of our volunteers are getting VIA in August or whatever the case may be in September. I think that's a really good idea.
Okay.
We try and stay unified as a church with all of our campuses. So I think that idea can be over our volunteers teams as well.
Right.
And then I did have a thought about who was sending out the every Thursday was sending out the huddle.
That was Ross at Harrison Bridge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, Ross. We have that sheet on our central hub. So our leaders can actually just go to that. So I could still send a reminder email that says, hey, you're leading, make sure you get on Central Hub and grab that sheet. So it might be an easier step, just to send an email instead of having to, not that it's hard to send a form, but it gives our volunteers even more ownership of like, I'm not waiting for my team lead or Connect team leader to send me something. I can, take ownership of that, and I can go in and get my form and that kind of thing. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but it might be easier.
Yeah, that's good. I like that, Laurie. This is what I think we should do. I'm going to go ahead and extend this for another month. I'm going to make the webinar for next month, our time, to be focused on the huddle, Michael. I think you raised a great question. I know that we've only got 30 minutes and I've gone over, and maybe other of you guys have got other questions. So if you want to shoot me an email, maybe that can be a topic discussion for another time together. But I want to introduce 2 ideas to you guys that would be preparation for our next webinar, and then we'll go. The first one is what I call a weekly Connect Team Lead Rhythm Sheet. This is something that I'm using right now that I do. So as a lead, I've got something that I'm doing every day. Tuesday I actually rest. I don't know if you can see that, but there's different things that I'm trying to stay focused on. It's just a rhythm of just like what I could be doing every day to make sure that Connect Team is running smoothly from a leader's standpoint. So I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm going to give it to you as a template too. This is not in the Connect books or anything like that, but maybe you could edit it for yourself, and it might be something that you could hey, so like, Thursday, I'm thanking God for my team leads, and I may be reaching out to 1 or 2 of them with an encouraging phone or text message, and maybe Thursday, Ross just said, Thursday is the day that he sends that email out for the, whatever. So this might be, if you want this template, you could print it out. I'm going to give that to you. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm waiting to hear back from all of your campus pastors. Like, for instance, Michael, Scott's out of town. I am wanting to talk to him more than you do, I promise. I mean, you don't even know, bro, how much I want to talk to him and get this thing rolling at Spartanburg. But the idea is we're giving you guys hubs. I've already dished them out to Espanol, Pelham, of course, Powdersville. Anderson has them. Travelers Rest is about to get them. So they're coming. You're about to get these, and you can use them in your own context if you want. But I'm going to maybe focus on the huddle for this next webinar, create maybe some ideas, and maybe we could just focus on VIA for August. If you want to encourage people, maybe you get a VIA and give one of them to all your leaders and just say, what are some ways that, Sunday 1, you do a huddle on the idea. Sunday 2, what does being intentional look like? Maybe double tap on that for another Sunday. You don't have to do that. I'm just giving you an idea, but let's go for that flow, and I'll be in touch with you guys in the next day or 2. One of the things that Daniel Moore, our campus pastor at Pelham, suggested, hey, Chris, I know a lot of our guys work, and sometimes evenings is very difficult. Is evenings difficult for you guys? Would you rather would it be helpful if I did this during a lunch? I mean, I know some of you guys work during the day. Would it be helpful to do it in an early morning, or is this time just a good time?
8 o'clock is perfect for me.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just email everybody, and you guys give me a thumbs up if you like this time. And if I want to give you as much help and support as I can. I'm in the thick of this with you guys, man. I am in it with you. So excited that I get to do this with you guys. So why don't we do this? Matt, will you pray for us and close us out? And then we'll just, I'll be in touch with you guys in the next day or 2.
Sure. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity that we have just to have this team, to have this resource, to be able to serve the local body in this way. God, I pray that as we go forward with the VIA model this next month, just that that it would be authentic for us, not just in our Connect teams, but in our lives, that we would be visible to those around us, that would be intentional in conversation with those around us, and that we would be an authentic representation of you. Just once again, thank you so much for all that you're doing in our church. We just pray for all of our leaders, all of our staff right now, God, and everything that you're doing. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be with you guys. I love y'all, and I look forward to seeing you soon, okay?
All right, we'll see.